This is what the guy at Home Depot said because the guy at Home Depot is smarter than Dad.
That's debatable.
And so they put all the. That's not debatable. It's like
No, that he's smarter than you. I was on your side.
oh, it's not even debatable though. Why would you call it debatable? Why don't you just say, Kevin, you're right. You are so much smarter. It's debatable. That means there's two sides to it.
Yeah, well, there's always two sides.
No, I am smarter than the guy at Home Depot. Debatable.
Hey everyone, welcome to the LifenGeer podcast, where truth leads to joy and adventure. I'm your host, Justin, and I'm here with Kevin Geer. What's up?
Hey, excited about this podcast today.
Boom. We got a topic. What we're going to be doing here is reviewing your favorite points from this whole entire year.
Well, it's the season finale of season 3.
Can you believe it? 3 years.
Boom.
Oh, that feels good.
And so this is one of my favorite podcasts that I was writing was this one, only because it's fun to go back and look at all that we did this year in 2023 and to be able to even say some of those points again. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. But before we get to the content, what have you been doing? I feel like we haven't caught up in a while. Like what's been going on, man?
Well, there's always stuff going on. I mean, stuff. But you want to hear the latest drama in my life?
Just kidding. I hate drama, but go for it.
Oh, capital D drama. So Miera is my daughter, my middle child.
Yes.
And she went to Florida to go to college. We drove her yellow Jeep. We call it Tweety Bird all the way down there. And what?
I just love the name.
Her license plate is Tweety Bird.
I forgot that's what you guys had that.
And she has a Tweety Bird hanging from the deal. It's great. It's cool. And I mean, you see it and you love it. Except for the rust, but you love it. And when we get all the way down there in Atlanta, we start having engine problems with it. And we got bad gas. That's just a funny statement. The Jeep got bad gas.
That's why there's rust on the side.
It was stuttering and putting. And sorry. But that's just funny. Now, I've never thought that until just now. And then I'll never think about it again by your guys' reactions. But there's people out in podcast land that are laughing, and thank you for having a sense of humor. And of a 8-year-old.
That's debatable.
And then, so anyways, I had to get it towed. Long story short, that's not my point.
Big deal.
Then we had to spend like $1,500 to fix it. It was frustrating. And then a month later, it broke down again, and we got it fixed. And so now, finally.
Hold on. People right now are thinking you should get your daughter a more reliable vehicle if you're going to take her all the way down to Florida. That's what people are thinking. Just saying.
Okay, that's fair enough. The second time it cost us nothing because nothing was wrong. I don't know. I'm not going to throw my daughter under the bus, but something was.
Maybe the clutch wasn't in all the way.
Stuttering, yeah. Well, she also had the time where the second time I towed it, she had pneumonia, was running a temperature. And so maybe, I don't know. But here it is. So I'm building it up to get here. So she's been in there since September, so 2.5 months.
Yeah.
I get a call this week. She's freaking out about, guess what?
Tweety Bird.
I'm like, what? This car is possessed.
Yeah.
What is it now? Literally screaming. I turned on the air and all of this paper started blowing out of the vents.
Wow.
I'm like, what? She goes, I think here's her conclusion. I think the mechanic stuffed napkins in my vents. I'm like, that's not what happened.
What?
That was her conclusion, because you turned on the air conditioning. It's hot in Florida, and all this napkin stuff starts blowing out. Yeah. Do you guys know what it could be?
I'm going to guess a pack rat.
Yes.
Nuh-uh.
A mouse has gotten into the vent system of Tweety Bird and look at your face and built a nest. And so it's not just paper blowing out of the vents. It's feces. It's disgusting.
Dude, that is so nasty.
So she's freaking out. Understandable. And it's Miera. She's an includer. So there's a whole posse of people now around helping her figure this out. Well, they can't find the mouse. They don't know where it is. So they put down all of these. I said, buy back-breaking death mouse traps. They bought glue ones that they put down.
No, you don't buy glue mouse
Well,
traps.
this is what the guy at Home Depot said, because the guy at Home Depot is smarter than Dad.
That's debatable.
And so they put all the. That's not debatable. It's like,
No, that he's smarter than you. I was on your side.
oh, it's not even debatable though. Why would you call it debatable? Why don't you just say, Kevin, you're right. You are so much smarter. It's debatable. That means there's two sides to it.
Yeah, well, there's always two sides.
No, I am smarter than the guy at Home Depot. Debatable. And so they put down these.
He's a sensitive little guy.
So you put down all these glue things in there. Well, so the next day, and by the way, my daughter doesn't text. She calls or FaceTimes 15 times a day.
Wow.
And so she calls and she goes, Dad, the glue trap is gone. I think the mouse got stuck to it. And now there's a hole in the floor where the mouse has chewed through the floor. So she shows me the video. Drama. So now what happened, I believe, is the mouse went back into the vent system and is going to die in there. And there is a blower that moves all the air that often mice will build nests inside. It's the blower that spins that pushes all the air out. So there's a nest in there. And so I'm going to have to find a way or find someone to go and remove the blower, clean it all out, and then reattach it.
Is there a hole in her vehicle now?
Yeah, in the floorboard.
Was that always there?
It was rusty a little bit underneath.
It's a real strong
Dude,
mouse.
No.
She's gonna
It's
be
not all the way through.
She's gonna be Fred Flintstoning that thing, man.
No. I mean, mental picture's wrong. It's not all the way through. It's just the subfloor. So the first part, the other floor, you can't see ground. It got underneath.
Oh yeah,
It's a disaster.
Just the subfloor.
It's a disaster.
She should sell that vehicle while she's down there.
It's an option.
Yeah,
I love it.
you should bring her your other one, your blue one.
No, my blue one is my off-roader.
Mm.
I'm gonna, you know, I'm going. Next year, 2024 dream.
Yeah,
I'm going to the Arctic Ocean.
that's crazy.
Driving when I come back from the Arctic Ocean, I'm going to sell my Jeep.
Yeah, you know,
Which one is going?
The new one.
so many of the things that you do, I don't have any desire to do. Like I just don't have like a desire for a lot of your adventures. That one seems like a lot of fun, actually, though.
1 month camping out of a car.
That part, I would stay at hotels, but like, yeah.
You'll never go with me on an adventure. I know. You know, I
But
don't know.
going
Hey,
to the Arctic seems amazing. Like
I don't know if
I'll
go ahead.
fly there and meet you there.
We have some friends that are doing
Yeah.
that. But I will say this. You know, and I don't know if our podcast listeners know this. This is a your wife, Janessa,
Mm-hmm.
cuts my hair.
Yes, we've talked about it.
But Justin, I have secrets about you.
No, you don't.
Oh.
Like, she's washing my hair one day. 'Cause I'm just talking about how we're different.
Yeah. We are totally
Yeah.
different.
And she was washing my hair one day, or cutting my hair. And she goes, "Oh, Justin is probably shopping right now." And I go, "Why is Justin shopping?" Here's what she said. Because when he has emotional days, he goes and buys an outfit. Can we just
Why do you laugh? You do the same thing.
No, I don't.
When you want to preach a good message, you go buy a new outfit.
I don't go buy anything.
Am I wrong?
He likes his new shirts.
Yeah.
Let's mute Tanya.
You forget. I know you too.
No, but I want to be confident in a new shirt. Different. It's not.
I'm just trying to get myself confident. I'm having a bad day.
Oh, this is gonna be the greatest podcast
I'm
ever.
with you, Justin.
Thank
I
you,
do.
Tanya. Yes.
When you're having a bad day, Tanya, you go buy an outfit.
Sometimes, yeah.
How come last week you had a new outfit every day?
It's been rough with your doctorate.
All right, we should get to this content.
Okay.
Let's review 2023,
Come on.
and let's start out.
Yeah.
We've had too much fun already, but let's start out with the month of January. The episode was How to Grieve Well. Kevin,
Oh.
what was your favorite point from that one?
How to grieve well. There's so much there. And you know, one of the things that's great about this is maybe there's a point or a month that's going to hit you and you're going, oh, man, that's where I'm at. All of this is on YouTube. You can just go and then watch that episode because maybe you weren't grieving in January, but you're grieving in December, and you can go back and listen to it. But the point out of January that I captured is healing really starts when life starts getting back to normal. So if someone, and I'm talking about, someone has passed, or you're grieving a dream, but then you go through that season where you're making the changes, and or you're saying goodbye, or all family has flown in for the funeral, and then they all leave, and then oh wait, life has been waiting for you.
Yeah.
That's when grieving often really starts. Healing grieving. I think there's a difference. There's the grieving of the moment.
Sure.
Then there's the healing grieving, and healing grieving is always pointing you forward. Healthy grieving, and so that happens after the memorial. It happens when the family leaves. It's when life returns back to normal. And so I think the point I would say out of this is, if you're in a time of grieving, give yourself time to be in the moment of grief.
Sure.
And then when life gets back to normal, there will. Grieving doesn't end.
Sure.
Healing grieving starts to begin.
So would you say, because I've heard of situations where someone passes, and then but sometimes people will wait a month, 2 months. It just depends on schedules before, like, especially if someone's been cremated, before they actually do like a memorial service or something like that. So
That's a good question.
Would you say that's not healthy to do that?
No, I don't think. I think it's healthy or not healthy. I don't think that's the right. I wouldn't say it that way, because I think everybody's different.
Okay.
Circumstances are different.
Okay.
I think what you'll do is you might experience normal life before that, and then you'll have that moment.
Have a moment.
And that's fine, because you'll have all the family. You're still going to go through that trauma moment. You're still going to go through the I'll say it this way, because in January episode I talk about the stages of grief.
Yeah.
And the first part, you go through them really fast.
Yeah.
And then as you get healing, they start to go through them a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But I don't think the timing of the memorial in and of itself. It's more of the trauma of the
Sure.
moment.
That makes sense. So February, we were talking about how to lead upward.
Yes. These are going to be some hard shifts as we go from month to month. How to lead upward. And this is a great episode if you're in middle management, if you're wanting to influence upward, if you're a child trying to influence your parents. All of this works. A teenager.
Which we hear stories of teenagers listening to the podcast, and they're like,
none of my kids, but
mine either.
So that's a problem, because you're never a prophet in your own land. But here it is. I would say, when you're going to lead upward, here's the one that jumped out at me. There's like 10 of them on that podcast. Be prepared when you take your leader's time. So if you can send your questions ahead.
Yeah.
I have a friend named Mel Ming who I get to, he's one of the largest mentors in my life. I love him. I wouldn't be getting my doctorate without him.
Yeah.
Seriously, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he's been guiding me on this. And when I am going to meet with him, I always send him the questions I'm going to ask ahead of time to him. And what it says is, I respect your time.
Yeah.
You could be meeting with so many other different people, and you're going to give me time.
Yeah.
I'm going to, and because of that respect, there's always time available. So I do the research of the possible questions. What are the best questions I need to ask? I'm going to always give appreciation that I have their time. And then I'm going to speak their language.
Yeah.
So if they're a D in personalities, we did last season, we did a disc series. I'm going to speak as a D to them.
Yeah.
Because I just
important.
And then that gives me, honestly, more influence.
Yeah.
And so that's
I literally just did this based off of the content from the podcast. I asked some people to be mentors in my life. I'm meeting with them next week, and so I sent them some questions. Here's the things that I want to talk about.
Good.
And their response was, "Thank you so much. This gives us time to be able to think and process it." So applied it. We don't just talk about it; we apply it too.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So March, talk about 7 ways to have a great year still. I said 2 because on here you have TO capitalized.
Oh, why we were sitting in this podcast, breaking news. I'm just going to share this right now. This is a big deal.
Okay.
You know, this is a side note, has nothing to do, but it's real life happening right now.
Okay, wow.
Do you know that when you text people that don't have an iPhone, it's blue and green? They have the blue and green bubbles.
Yeah.
And you can always tell who doesn't have the iPhone because they're green.
That's so weird.
And so there's been a big move called Apple bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. I'm not usually a fan of bullying, but like,
no,
I'm just kidding.
No, actually, I'm on board with it too. I'm like, I told him, I don't care. Buy an iPhone.
Get an iPhone.
Well, in 2024, Apple's going to change it and everybody's going to be blue. Okay, that's the breaking news. I just saw it come across my deal. Okay, 7 ways.
Oh my goodness.
7. I know it's ADD. I was a squirrel and I saw it. 7 ways to still have a great year.
I thought somehow you were connecting
No,
it to
nothing. I think this is your point. I think you brought this up where you commented on it, and I did it this year.
Yeah.
Cut your media by a half.
Yep.
So after we did this podcast and we talked, I went and was even more intentional. This is in 2023. I use social media less than I have in the almost 8, maybe a decade before. And in fact, I even wrote down in my notes, it's the hardest one on the list.
Yeah.
But I pulled way back. I'm watching no TV shows currently right now.
Yeah.
And what will I do with all the time that I've gained? I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not as tired. And I have time to try new things. And I'm going to tell you, I've loved it.
Yeah.
And so out of March, that was my favorite one that I personally applied to my life. And I have 0 regrets on it.
I can't remember if I shared this last episode, but I deleted Facebook and Instagram off my phone. I found myself completely. Didn't even move it off to the side. I actually deleted it because I found myself cheating.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm too much, and I got stuck in the scroll. And
stuck in the scroll.
I'm telling you, Kevin, right now, my life is so much better. I do way more. I'm more productive. It was changing my mental, my attitude with the amount of social media I was absorbing. And so I just said, screw it. I don't need it that much.
You know what I noticed? My temper fuse got longer because I'm subconsciously frustrated with people sometimes. Like, why? Oh, why? And it was eating at my fuse for other things in life. And my fuse has gotten so much longer cutting social media.
It's crazy.
Huge.
I love it. It just feels so good.
It does.
And I hop in. So now I still have my accounts, but the only way I access it is either through my iPad or my computer. And so
I would, there's the one account you should access, honestly, I think more, especially you, Justin, is your fantasy football account. Because I'm 3 games up on you right now, and I'm just isn't it true?
It's true.
Okay.
You really want to bring up fantasy football?
Well, this year I want to talk about it. We're in 2023 year.
Okay.
You're still living in the past?
Right. No. But this is your first year you've even tried.
I was the champion.
Okay, since you won in 2017.
See, I'm not living in the past. I'm living in the future. 10-0, never lost this season. Okay, go to April.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, just for our listeners, I have been the worst winner all year. I keep bragging in front of all.
I'm waiting for God just to humble you,
and He keeps lifting me up. I don't think He gives a rip.
Just smite him, Almighty Smiter. Just kidding.
April.
Okay, I need to say sorry.
Why do you need to say sorry?
Kevin,
it's the April episode.
I am sorry for what I just said to you.
April episode is how to say I am sorry.
I just made eye contact with you too.
That was wonderful. And that's what the point I took away was: be direct. When you say you're sorry, be direct and take responsibility. If you're going to say I'm sorry, those are powerful words. It's not I am sorry, but. I said this last Sunday when I was saying something else, and I said, but doesn't have a say. Shut the butt up is what I said last Sunday morning. Yeah. Shut the butt up. And that what it means. When you say I'm sorry, just say you're sorry. Be direct, take responsibility, and express regret of why you're sorry. That, if given a chance to say you're sorry, you have a chance to change your pattern. I am sorry means if I was in that situation again, I would have done it differently.
Yeah.
That's important. April.
And you earn emotional equity with those people when you do it that way.
It is so true. I just recently I was helping somebody navigate a difficult situation that they had found themselves in, and I had 2 courses of action. If they responded without humility, there was going to be I was going to move this direction. And they would have no longer worked here, blah, blah, blah. If they responded in humility and regret, I had a whole nother path I was going to take.
Yeah.
And I was prepared for both ways to go. And this individual responded with such humility. It allowed me to restore them and lift them up.
Wow, that's cool.
And it was in the power of I am sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. May, creating your desired culture, talking about culture and how things work.
Well, this is what I'm writing my dissertation on. I really love culture. And at the point I wanted to do the whole thing. The whole thing I would say though is culture is created. You have to lead it. You don't respond to it. And what do I mean by that is you need to be talking about where you want to be going. And I like to think of the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
80% of the time I'm leading our culture where I'm going. I'm not reacting to what's happening around me.
Yeah.
The intentional goal of what is the culture that I want. I think about it, I establish, and then I pursue it.
Yeah.
You never have a healthy culture. You're always pursuing a healthy culture.
I love that.
That's
And that's not in the workplace only. That's your family. That's every aspect of your life.
You want to know a cool thing? I had a professional interviewer come in and interview a whole bunch of people on staff about our culture.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that I asked was, how is their personal home life influenced by Canvas culture?
Yeah.
And the guy who did the interview, his job is to be straight-laced, straight-faced.
And he totally was.
He's very good at it.
Bro, it's almost intimidating.
Yeah. Because he doesn't give you a response to your answer.
No.
He just goes on to the next one.
Yeah.
What was so powerful about it, it's the one time when I was with him that weekend, he cracked. Because he wasn't going to do that question, but I asked him to do it for my research. He was shocked at how many people's homes lives are different because they worked at Canvas.
Yeah.
And he made a great statement. He said this. He goes, what people talk in theory, Canvas does in real life.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm like, and I think it's because we're intentional to go what we're after.
Yeah.
I think that we're not perfect by a long ways.
Right.
But that's the point. We're continuing to try.
Yeah. And speaking of healthy culture, that takes us into June and how to get peace.
Oh, so many people are looking for peace. And we're, in December, we celebrate the coming of Jesus, who is the Prince of Peace. And people they don't want peace for a moment. They want peace for a lifetime that's sustaining. And so the point that I made, and that's a whole series, whole podcast you can go listen to on this. But the point I wanted to bring back up is peace must be found in two places, not just one. You have to have the peace of the heart, and you have to have the peace of the mind.
Yeah.
If one does not have it, you do not have total peace. So the battle for peace is a war on two fronts.
Yeah.
The battle of the mind and the battle of the heart. And I often see people who will have it in the mind, they don't have it in their heart.
Sure.
Or they have it in their heart, but their mind is in chaos.
Yeah.
And you have to have it. And the idea comes from what Scripture says. And God will give you peace that passes understanding, that will guard your heart and your mind.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, you just did your heart and your mind.
I
do that
all the time. And when you need to, for those who aren't watching, when I say heart, I touch my head, and when I say mind, I touch my heart. And when I'm preaching, I do it all the time, and I don't know why. Oh,
so funny. But hey, guess what? You're still a 10.
July, the month of July. I don't care how bad of a day you were having. If you listen to the July podcast, you're going to feel like a 10. Why? Because you are.
That's right.
How to see everyone as a 10. And the point on that one that I wanted to bring back up, and just maybe say it to you as you're listening today. Everyone needs love.
Yeah.
Everyone. We are created to be loved
and
to give love.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are struggling because they're so wanting to receive love, and they're waiting for it to come. But the way that you receive love is to
give it
love. Yes. And so everyone needs to hear, I love you. Everyone needs to say, I love you. Everyone needs to feel loved, and everyone needs to show love. Everyone needs love. That's one of the ways to see people.
That's rhythmic. That can almost be a song, Kevin. You should really work that out.
I think it's a psalm.
Oh yeah,
it's Psalm 157.
Wow.
No,
I was gonna say that. If you just nailed that, And he's
I
Googling
don't
you.
even think there's I don't even think there's 150 psalms. I think there's 154. I forget how many psalms there are.
All right, August. We talked about the concept. It's kind of hard to explain it, but we talked about the concept of day 5, which is in reference to the story of the Israelites with the Battle of Jericho walking around the wall. So your main point, your main takeaway from that was to...
Well, they had to march around 7 days.
Yeah.
And day 5 is the hardest day of the 7 days,
Yeah.
I think. And so my big takeaway on that, there's a whole bunch on there. What do you do in the middle of you're waiting for a dream to take place, but it's not taking place, and you've been working at it day 5.
Yeah.
That would be why you'd need to go listen to the August podcast. Here's what I would say: keep believing. Obedience without results can increase faith. Can also obedience without results increases your faith. So you keep putting one foot in front of the other, even though you're not seeing results, and you just keep believing. It can also eliminate your faith.
Yeah.
You need to choose to keep believing. It keeps you focused on the goal. How do you keep believing? You focus on the goal. You focus on the goal. And then I think the action point of that was it's a spiritual growth season.
Yeah.
You keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
And I love that. I'm living day 5 of my doctoral.
Yeah.
I'm writing, and I'm tired. But when I did August, I hadn't started my dissertation. Now I have 2 chapters left.
Dang. Out of 4?
Out of 5.
Out of 5.
And I've done the hardest.
Yeah.
And so you just got to keep going. And eventually you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's cool. Well, that was the episode where I think you sang "Don't Stop Believing" for us.
That probably would be accurate.
It just feels right.
And it's moving in my heart again. No, I'm not going to.
All right, September, the Oz effect. This was a fun one. This was a lot of fun.
Totally different.
Yeah.
We just wanted to do something different. And that Oz effect was, when those when the characters from the Wizard of Oz go in and they see the Oz behind the curtain, everything becomes real.
Yeah.
So we did what we call the Oz effect, what it's like to be weak in my shoes. And one of the points that we took was, what are your biggest criticisms? And so I shared a little bit about that. And this,
like the criticisms you receive.
Yeah, criticisms I receive. Like I just got one even last week. Someone wrote a funny card that just says, "You're not funny.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're funny? You don't even preach the Bible." And I'm like, and then I got probably 1,200 cards I'm reading through, and or maybe 800 cards I'm reading through, and through online and paper, and I'm reading through them all, and it's like, this changed my life. I'm closer to Jesus than ever before. And then this card comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, you're an idiot, and you're just gonna face criticisms all the time.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, I stopped. I grabbed that card. It was unsigned, of course.
Yeah.
I prayed for that person.
Yeah.
And so I would say, in the Oz effect, just the takeaway for that one is just be a better lover than people are haters.
That's so good.
And you're going to live happier.
Yeah, I love it. October. Oh.
And we're flying. We only got 2 months left.
Oh, my goodness. This was an amazing episode. I probably got the most feedback coming out of this episode than I have any of our other episodes this season. And that was the episode on breaking generational dysfunction.
Huge one.
Yeah.
And if you haven't listened to Breaking Generational Dysfunction, go listen to it. You're going to listen to it more than once.
Yeah.
In fact, I think even in that episode, I say maybe you need to stop right here, and you're not ready to listen to the rest of the episode until you've done this part. It's worth listening. But one of the takeaways, I was reading through it again as I was writing this, and one of the takeaways that I really liked, that I just was like, oh, this is so simple. Everybody can do this, regardless if you're in a dysfunctional season or not.
Yeah.
And that's observe healthy people or families and learn their best practices.
Yeah.
We all need to be continual learners.
Yeah.
And so you can research and you can observe and you're doing this, Justin, asking a mentor to meet with you. But it's so healthy just to watch the people or the families or the marriages that you want to reproduce, watch how they do it.
Yeah.
And then implement those into your life. I like one of them, which is going to lead to November, if I can make the segue here.
Yeah.
I watched a friend of mine who does family dinner every week.
Yeah.
And his kids are getting older and they've left, so he instituted family dinner. I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted that in my family.
That's good.
And so a year ago, we started family dinner. Am I the OG thinker of that? No.
Who cares?
Is it my idea? No.
Who cares?
Exactly. It's a brilliant idea, and I'm going to copy it.
Yeah.
And we do it every week now, and we love it. And and it's kept our family really tight, and I love it.
Cool. So speaking of families, generations, let's go to our last episode that we've done, which was the one in November, and it was Family Sticky, which was another fun one that we did.
Yeah, and this is just how to keep your family sticky, how to keep your family tight, how to keep your family, which is as older they get, the more they leave, the more further apart you get. How do you do that? And the one that I picked for this podcast here is just celebrate each other's successes.
Yeah.
Eliminate fairness from your vocabulary.
Yes.
When somebody gets something and another family doesn't, you celebrate the one who has.
Yeah.
You don't whine about what you don't have. And that creates this culture that you're for one another. And I shared, we started this as when our kids were very little. We would purposely not divide up the M&Ms evenly.
Yeah.
We would divide them up unevenly so that our children could practice giving. There's just so many principles here. Our children could practice celebrating the one who got the more.
Yeah.
And the one who got the more had the opportunity, if they chose, to take from what they have to bless others.
Yeah.
There's so many lessons of life
So
that can
good.
be managed through there.
Yeah.
But it's a foundational to keep our family sticky.
Yeah.
We celebrate successes. We don't get jealous.
And if you didn't start this as a kid, you can still learn this.
Absolutely. That's so well said, Justin.
Yeah.
So good. So Justin, question for you.
Yes.
And maybe you already answered this, but it was a question I was going to ask anyways. You can only listen to one podcast in the month of 2023.
In the year.
A year, 2023. How to grieve well. I mean, that could be your fantasy football team. How to lead upward. 7 ways to have a great year still. That could be your fantasy football team. How to say I'm sorry. Creating your desired culture. How to get peace. Because I know you're troubled by your fantasy football team. How to see everyone as a 10. Day 5, it's just a long season for you. The Oz effect, breaking generational dysfunction, or family sticky. Which one are you going to do?
I really did enjoy. It's so much. I mean, the podcast is so much fun, and we have some great content that has come through on this. I don't know. I wish you would have told me you were going to ask me this question.
We want your true answer from the heart.
Honestly, so to change not to change the atmosphere a little bit, but How to Grieve Well really hit me home.
Yeah.
It hit home with me. I mean, I lost my father-in-law this last spring.
Yes, that's right.
And so going through, we actually were talking about this towards the end of his life.
Yeah.
And so to have that content available for me during that season was really helpful. And it was easy for me to refer back to it, even though I kind of had a basis idea, but just to have that as kind of a baseline for me.
Right.
It was
That's
good.
And maybe that you just made a great statement there. Maybe you're listening to this podcast and you have a friend that's going through something, and this podcast that we mentioned, one of these episodes, like, oh, I need them to listen to that. That would be good for them.
Yeah.
Share that with them, and that will help them maybe right in the time to be able to, because you're not a prophet in your own land.
Yeah.
And so maybe you want to say something to them that I said, but they won't take it from you.
Right.
Well, then just say, hey, listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
And that might help. Very good. And I will say this. Here's what I'm having so much fun for as I bring this, get ready to close, then you can bring it up. Then you can close. What's so funny about the fantasy football thing is Justin has won the league the last 2 years. He's actually the highest scorer in our league right now. And he has 3 losses. And shouldn't be that way. And he is passionate about winning. I had a friend who was with him this past weekend. He doesn't even know the story. And he goes, I don't even like watching football with Justin because he doesn't watch the team anymore. It's all about fantasy. And he groans and he complains. Yeah. And so anytime I can win, it's like a dagger in Justin's heart. And joy is on my face.
It is so much fun. I enjoy fantasy football. I just like to win.
I know what that feels like.
You do. Congratulations. First time in 5 years. Hey everyone, that's it for this episode. Remember, new episodes are coming out every Thursday of the month, so hit that notification button, don't miss out. I am Justin, and for Kevin, myself, and the team, thanks for listening to the LifenGeer podcast, where truth leads to joy and adventure.